Model student faces unexpected suspension for fraud, but during investigation discovers a secret that could transform the entire university. Sarah was nervous as she walked through the gardens of Santa Ana University, her wheeled suitcase clicking against the impeccable pavement. The campus, with its majestic neo-Gothic architecture buildings, exuded an aura of opulence that drastically contrasted with her previous life. The morning sun made the stained glass windows cast colored light patterns on the ground, creating an almost surreal landscape. Sarah stopped for a moment, taking a deep breath and trying to calm her tumultuous thoughts. She felt the weight of the responsibility of caring for her younger sister, Lily, and knew that this opportunity was her chance to secure a better future for both of them. She entered the main hall, where students moved in groups, their animated conversations creating a constant murmur. The corridors were adorned with expensive artworks and trophies from academic and sports competitions. As Sarah observed everything with curious eyes, she couldn't help but remember her modest home and the simple life she led with her parents before the accident. The sense of loss weighed on her heart, but she forced herself to keep her head up. This was her new reality, and she was determined to excel. On the other side of the campus, in one of the more remote courtyards, a group of students gathered in a circle, laughing and chatting animatedly. Tyler, Emma, and Noah, three of the most popular and privileged students at the university, were at the center of the group. Tyler, with his perfectly groomed blonde hair and a confident smile, was leading the conversation. Emma, always impeccably dressed in the latest fashion trends, was by his side, fiddling with her phone with a disguised look of boredom. Noah, a muscular athlete with an always mocking look, was telling a funny story about one of the less fortunate students, making the group laugh even more. "So, who's the next victim?" Tyler asked, his eyes shining with a mix of malice and excitement. Emma raised her head, her green eyes shining with the same intensity. "I heard there's a new student," she replied, her voice low but full of interest. "Sarah, I think. She doesn't come from a wealthy family. Looks like she's here on a scholarship." Noah let out a short, disdainful laugh. "Oh, these overcoming stories. Always so touching, aren't they?" He rolled his eyes as the group laughed in response. "Let's show her how things work around here," Tyler said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "It will be fun." Meanwhile, Sarah, still dazzled by the university's splendor, headed to the arts club. Since she was little, drawing and painting were her escape valves, and she hoped to find a place where she could express herself and maybe make some friends. When she entered the club room, she was surprised by the variety of art materials available: paints, brushes, canvases, and sculptures. There were students scattered around the room, each immersed in their own creative project. In the center of the room, a young man was playing a guitar. He had messy brown hair and a relaxed air that immediately caught Sarah's attention. The music he played was soft, almost melancholic, and seemed to resonate with the emotions she felt. "Hi," she said shyly, approaching him. "I'm Sarah. I'm new here." The young man looked up, his fingers still lightly touching the guitar strings. "Nice to meet you, Sarah." "I'm Alex," he replied with a warm smile. "Welcome to the Arts Club. Do you like music?" "Yes," she replied, feeling a bit more at ease. "But my true passion is painting." "Great. You'll fit in well here," Alex said, tilting his head to observe what she was carrying. "Want to see some of the other members' works? It might give you an idea of what we're doing." Sarah nodded, following Alex as he showed her the different projects. He was an enthusiastic guide, explaining each piece with passion and what it meant to the artist. Sarah felt inspired and, for the first time since arriving at the university, a bit hopeful. In the following days, Sarah and Alex quickly became friends. They spent hours in the arts club, discussing their ideas and working together on projects. Alex was a talented musician and often helped Sarah find the perfect soundtrack for her paintings. He also shared his own stories, revealing that music was his way of coping with the pressure to be perfect in such a competitive environment. Meanwhile, Tyler, Emma, and Noah continued to watch Sarah from afar, planning their next move. They began appearing in the same places as her, making sarcastic comments and trying to unsettle her. But Sarah, with Alex's support and her passion for art, began to find her own strength. In one of the arts club meetings, Sarah was working on a large canvas, her brushstrokes quick and decisive. Alex was by her side, strumming a soft melody on his guitar. The atmosphere was calm, almost meditative. "You're doing great, Sarah," Alex said without stopping playing. "This painting is incredible. It looks like you're putting your whole soul into it." Sarah smiled, a little embarrassed. "Thanks, Alex. I think I'm finding my rhythm." At that moment, Emma entered the room, her eyes evaluating Sarah's work with an expression of disdain. "So, this is what you do here? Therapy painting?" She laughed, a cold sound that made Sarah shiver. Alex stopped playing and looked directly at Emma. "Sarah is creating something beautiful. Something you probably wouldn't understand, Emma." Emma rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, Alex. Don't be so dramatic. I'm just curious to see how long she'll last here before giving up." Sarah felt her face flush, but remained firm. "I'm not going to give up," she said, her voice steady. "No matter what you say or do." Emma shrugged, still with that cruel smile. "We'll see," she said before leaving a trail of expensive perfume in the air. Alex put his hand on Sarah's shoulder. "Don't let her affect you, Sarah. They just want to see you fail because they're afraid of anything they can't control." Sarah nodded, taking a deep breath to calm her nerves. "I know, and I appreciate you being here, Alex." "You're not alone," Alex said softly. "Remember that." The sun shone softly through the large windows of the art studio, illuminating the room with a warm, welcoming light. The walls were covered with vibrant paintings and intriguing sculptures, each telling a unique story. The smell of fresh paint and clay filled the air, creating an inspiring and creative atmosphere. Sarah and Alex were sitting at a large table, surrounded by brushes, paints, and canvases. "So, what's your idea for our project?" Alex asked, his eyes shining with enthusiasm as he strummed a soft melody on his guitar. He wore a simple black t-shirt and worn jeans, his messy brown hair falling over his forehead. Sarah thought for a moment, looking at the blank canvas in front of her. "I was thinking of something that captures the essence of overcoming," she said, her voice full of determination. "Something that shows that no matter how difficult life can be, there is always hope." Alex smiled. "I like that," he said. "We can use music and art to tell these stories. Maybe create a series of paintings that depict different moments of overcoming, accompanied by songs that complement each piece." Sarah nodded, excited about the idea. "Yes, that would be amazing," she said. "We can start with the story of someone who faces a great loss but finds strength in art and music." As they discussed the project's details, Sarah felt more connected to Alex. He was understanding and encouraging, always ready to help and offer advice. She realized she was starting to trust him, something she hadn't done easily since her parents' death. On the other side of the campus, Tyler, Emma, and Noah were gathered in one of the luxurious courtyards, decorated with elegant fountains and well-kept gardens. Tyler was reclining on a marble bench, his legs casually stretched out, while Emma and Noah sat next to him, all with expressions of disdain. "Have you seen Sarah's new masterpiece?" Emma asked, rolling her eyes. She wore a designer sweater and perfectly fitted jeans, her blonde hair shining in the sun. "Yes, as if a bit of paint could change anything," Noah said, laughing. He was dressed in a sports jacket and sweatpants, his relaxed posture contrasting with the tension in his eyes. Tyler sighed, a cold smile forming on his lips. "She really thinks she can fit in here," he said. "It's pathetic." "We should do something about it," suggested Emma, her tone insinuating. "Something to show her where she really belongs." "Yes," Tyler agreed, his eyes shining with calculated malice. "But we need to be smart about it. We can't afford to get caught." They started planning, their whispers full of cruel intentions. Tyler, Emma, and Noah believed that by humiliating Sarah, they would reaffirm their own superiority. What they didn't realize was that their actions were rooted in their own insecurities and fears, something they refused to face. Back at the art studio, Sarah was immersed in her work. Her hands moved quickly, brushing vibrant colors onto the canvas. Beside her, Alex played a soft melody on his guitar, his music filling the room and creating an atmosphere of tranquility and concentration. "You're doing great," Alex said, looking at Sarah's painting. "I think you've really captured the essence of overcoming." Sarah smiled, pleased with the compliment. "Thank you, Alex. Your music really helps to inspire me." At that moment, the studio door opened, and some students entered, curious to see what was happening. Among them was Emma, her eyes fixed on Sarah with an expression of disdain. "So, this is your big project?" Emma asked, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Looks amateur." Sarah felt her heart race but remained calm. "We're just getting started," she said, trying to sound confident. "There's still a lot to do." "Well, good luck with that," Emma said, turning to leave. "Let's see if you can impress anyone other than yourself." Alex looked at Sarah, his eyes full of support. "Don't worry about her," he said. "Your art is amazing, and that's what matters." Sarah nodded, determined not to let Emma's comments shake her. She knew her work had value and that she was on the right path. With Alex's support and her own determination, she would continue to fight for her place at Santa Ana University. In the following days, Sarah and Alex worked tirelessly on their project. They spent hours in the studio, experimenting with different techniques and ideas. Sarah felt more confident each day, her passion for art growing as she explored new forms of expression. Meanwhile, Tyler, Emma, and Noah intensified their attempts to discredit Sarah. They began spreading rumors about her, saying her scholarship was a mistake and that she didn't deserve to be at the university. They made sarcastic comments whenever they saw her, trying to undermine her confidence. But Sarah, strengthened by Alex's support and her own resilience, refused to give up. She used every cruel comment as fuel for her art, channeling her emotions into her paintings. Each day, she felt stronger and more determined to prove she deserved to be there. On a sunny afternoon, the Arts Club organized a small presentation to showcase the members' progress. Sarah was nervous but also excited. She had worked hard on her painting and was eager to see her peers' reactions. The art studio was full of people, all curious to see what the club members had created. Sarah adjusted her painting on the wall, taking a deep breath to calm her nerves. Alex was beside her, holding his guitar, ready to play a song he had composed especially for the occasion. When it was Sarah's turn to present her work, she approached the painting, her heart pounding. "This painting represents the journey of overcoming," she said, her voice firm despite the nerves. "It's about finding strength in art and music, even in the darkest moments." She looked at Alex, who began to play a soft, inspiring melody. The music filled the room, perfectly complementing Sarah's painting. The students watched in silence, absorbing the combination of art and music. When the music ended, there was a moment of silence before the applause began. Sarah felt immense relief, her eyes filling with tears of happiness. She had succeeded. She had touched her peers' hearts and proven she deserved to be there. Tyler, Emma, and Noah were at the back of the room, watching with expressions of surprise. They hadn't expected Sarah to impress so many students. Even they, for a moment, were left speechless. Sarah smiled, feeling more confident than ever. Autumn was in full swing, tinting the trees on the Santa Ana University campus with vibrant shades of orange, yellow, and red. The fresh air brought a sense of renewal and possibility. Sarah and Alex were sitting on a wooden bench in the garden, surrounded by fallen leaves and the tranquility of the environment. They were animatedly discussing plans for the musical presentation they wanted to organize. "So, I was thinking we could create a performance that mixes live painting and music," Alex suggested, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. He wore a light jacket and a band t-shirt, his fingers tapping restlessly on the bench. Sarah smiled, her face illuminated by the idea. "That would be amazing. We can tell stories of overcoming through art and music. Each painting can represent a different story, and your music can bring those stories to life." "Exactly," Alex agreed, adjusting his guitar on his lap. "We can start with your story, Sarah. Your journey here is inspiring and can motivate others to believe in themselves." Sarah felt a warmth in her chest at Alex's words. "I'd love to share my story, but I also want to include other students' stories. We all have something valuable to share." They spent hours planning, their ideas flowing like a constantly moving river. They decided that the presentation would be a collaborative event involving other marginalized students who also had powerful stories to tell. Sarah felt increasingly excited about the prospect of bringing people together through art and music. While Sarah and Alex worked on their plans, Tyler, Emma, and Noah were in a luxurious meeting room, surrounded by leather furniture and sophisticated decor. The expressions on their faces were of discontent and frustration. They knew that the presentation plan by Sarah and Alex could threaten their social standing at the university. "We can't let this happen," Tyler said, his tone cold and calculating. He was standing, looking out at the panoramic view of the campus through the windows. "If this presentation is a success, they will gain support, and we will lose our status." Emma, elegantly seated in an armchair, crossed her legs and sighed. "So, what do we do? We need a plan to end the presentation before it even begins." Noah, reclining on the sofa, shook his head. "We can sabotage the preparations. Make something go wrong. Maybe tamper with the equipment or spread rumors that the event was canceled." Tyler nodded slowly, a malicious smile forming on his lips. "Yes, but we need to be careful. We can't afford to be caught. Let's start by spreading some rumors and then think about how to disrupt the rehearsals." They spent the afternoon plotting, each detail carefully thought out to ensure that Sarah and Alex's presentation would be a failure. They were determined to maintain their dominance over the university's social hierarchy, no matter the cost. Back at the arts club, Sarah and Alex were surrounded by canvases, paints, and musical instruments. The environment was full of creative energy, with students working on their projects and discussing ideas out loud. The excitement for the event was growing, and Sarah felt increasingly confident in her ability to make a difference. "We're almost ready," Alex said, adjusting the guitar strings. "But I've heard that Tyler and his friends are planning something. We need to be prepared for anything." Sarah nodded, her eyes determined. "I know they're going to try to sabotage us, but we can't let that discourage us. Let's keep working hard and make sure everything is perfect." As they rehearsed, other students began to join them, sharing their own stories and offering to help. A young woman named Mia, who had an angelic voice, offered to sing a song about her experience of overcoming. Another student, Marco, wanted to perform a dance representing his struggle against discrimination. The art studio became a center of collaboration and creativity, with each student bringing their own perspective and talent. Sarah felt inspired by everyone around her, realizing that together, they were a powerful force for change. One day, while Sarah was painting a large, colorful canvas, Alex ran into the studio, his face pale and worried. "Sarah, we have a problem," he said, trying to catch his breath. "I just heard that Tyler and his friends spread rumors that our presentation was canceled." Sarah stopped painting, her heart racing. "What? We can't let that happen. We need to inform everyone that the event is still on." They quickly mobilized the other students, spreading the news that the presentation had not been canceled. With the help of Mia, Marco, and other colleagues, they managed to counter the rumors and reassure everyone who was anxious to participate. However, this was only the beginning. In the following days, Sarah and Alex faced several obstacles, damaged equipment, interrupted rehearsals, and even direct sabotage attempts. But each time something went wrong, they stood up stronger, determined not to let Tyler, Emma, and Noah destroy their dreams. On the night before the presentation, Sarah was in the studio, putting the finishing touches on her painting. Alex was by her side, playing a soft melody to calm her. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" he asked, his eyes full of concern and affection. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. "Yes, I am. I know we've done everything we could to prepare. Now, we just need to believe in ourselves." Alex smiled and took Sarah's hand, squeezing it gently. "We'll do this together. No matter what happens, we'll be side by side." In that moment, Sarah felt a wave of gratitude and strength. She knew that, regardless of the challenges, they had created something special, something that had the power to change hearts and minds. And with Alex by her side, she was ready to face anything. As the stars shone in the sky outside, Sarah and Alex continued to work, dedicated to making the presentation a success. The eve of the presentation arrived, and the sky was covered with heavy clouds that promised a storm. Sarah was lying in her dorm bed, staring at the ceiling. Anxiety consumed her, and her heart raced. With every sound of the wind howling outside, she wondered if all her efforts would be in vain. In the darkness of the room, memories of her childhood and the loss of her parents came to the surface. She remembered the nights when her mother consoled her, saying she could overcome anything. But now, alone and facing the imminent presentation, Sarah didn't feel so confident. She closed her eyes and tried to sleep but was haunted by nightmares. In her dreams, she saw Tyler, Emma, and Noah laughing at her as her painting fell from the easel, destroyed. The audience murmured discontent, and Alex looked at her with disappointment. She woke up in a cold sweat, her heart racing. Sitting up in bed, Sarah looked at the clock. It was only 3 in the morning. Unable to go back to sleep, she decided to go out and walk around the campus, hoping to calm her nerves. She put on a coat and went out, feeling the cold night air on her face. The campus lights shone faintly through the fog, creating a mysterious and melancholic atmosphere. Alex was awake, adjusting the final details of the songs for the presentation. He was in the rehearsal room, a small but cozy space full of instruments and scattered sheet music. The musical notes floated in the air, and he tried to concentrate on the perfect melody to accompany Sarah's painting. But his concern for his friend prevented him from fully concentrating. He decided to take a break and walk a bit to clear his mind. He put on his coat and went out to the campus, his hands in his pockets to protect himself from the cold. As he walked, he spotted a familiar figure sitting on a bench near the main fountain. It was Sarah. "Sarah," he called out, approaching carefully. "What are you doing out here at this hour?" Sarah raised her head, her eyes tired and full of worry. "I couldn't sleep. I'm so nervous about the presentation, Alex. What if everything goes wrong?" Alex sat down next to her, putting an arm around her shoulders to comfort her. "Nothing will go wrong. You're amazing, Sarah. Everything you've done so far proves that. We're in this together, remember?" Sarah sighed, leaning her head to rest on Alex's shoulder. "I know, but it's hard not to think about what Tyler, Emma, and Noah might do. They're determined to destroy us." "Then let's show them they can't bring us down," Alex said firmly. "Let's make this presentation something so incredible that no one can ignore it." Alex's words, combined with his comforting presence, helped to calm Sarah. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the tension ease a bit. "Thank you, Alex. I needed to hear that." "You're welcome," he replied softly. "Now, let's go back and try to get some rest. We have a big day tomorrow." The next morning, the sun struggled to appear between the clouds, casting a pale light over the campus. Sarah felt more rested after the conversation with Alex, but the anxiety was still there, lurking. She prepared slowly, putting on comfortable and practical clothes for the presentation. In the art studio, the team was in full swing, adjusting the final details and ensuring everything was ready for the evening. The paintings were positioned, the sound equipment checked, and the students rehearsed their parts with dedication. Sarah was in her corner, adjusting her final canvas. With each brushstroke, she tried to remember Alex's words and the importance of her message. This was not just an event, it was an opportunity to inspire and connect people. In the midst of the frenzy, Mia approached, an encouraging smile on her face. "Is everything okay, Sarah? You seem a bit nervous." Sarah smiled, though she still felt the tension. "I'm fine, Mia. Just trying to concentrate and not let the nerves get to me." Mia nodded understandingly. "I understand. But remember, we're all here for you. And you are an inspiration to all of us." Mia's words warmed Sarah's heart, reminding her that she was not alone. She looked around and saw friendly, supportive faces. Alex, Marco, and so many others who had joined the cause. She felt a wave of gratitude and determination. As the day passed, the preparations continued. Tyler, Emma, and Noah watched from a distance, observing with calculating looks. They knew they needed to act quickly if they wanted to sabotage the event. In the afternoon, when Sarah and Alex were rehearsing together, Tyler entered the studio stealthily, pretending to be interested in the presentation. He started asking questions, seemingly innocent, but he was actually looking for ways to disrupt. "So, are you really confident that everything will go well?" he asked, a fake smile on his lips. Sarah looked at him cautiously. Yes, Tyler. We're very confident. Good for you, Tyler said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. I hope everything goes well. It would be a shame if something went wrong. Alex intervened, his gaze fixed on Tyler. We are ready for anything, Tyler, and we will make this presentation unforgettable. Tyler shrugged, still smiling in an unnerving way. We'll see, he said before leaving a sense of unease in the air. As the sun began to set, Sarah had a moment alone in the studio. She looked at her final painting, the vibrant colors and intricate details telling her story of struggle and hope. She picked up a brush and added the finishing touches, feeling a wave of emotion. This was the culmination of all her effort and pain, transformed into something beautiful. Suddenly, Alex entered the room, bringing a bouquet of wildflowers. For you, he said, handing the bouquet to Sarah. A little reminder that we're all rooting for you. Sarah took the flowers, feeling touched by Alex's kindness. Thank you, Alex. This means a lot to me. He smiled and took her hand. We're almost there. Let's do this together. With one last look at her painting, Sarah took a deep breath and left with Alex, ready to face the night and everything it would bring. The night of the presentation finally arrived. The auditorium of Santa Ana University was packed with students, professors, and guests. The murmur of animated conversations filled the air as everyone awaited the start of the event. The soft lighting and elegant decor created a welcoming and sophisticated atmosphere. Sarah was backstage, making the final adjustments to her painting and trying to stay calm. Alex entered the room, holding his guitar and giving Sarah an encouraging smile. Are you ready? He asked, adjusting the strap of the instrument. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Yes, I think so. I just need to remember that everything will be fine. Alex nodded, his eyes shining with determination. It will be fine. We've worked hard for this, and everyone is here to support you. On the other side of the auditorium, Tyler, Emma, and Noah were sitting together, watching the activity with expressions of disdain. Tyler crossed his arms, leaning over to whisper something in Emma's ear. Let's see if she can really impress anyone. Emma smiled maliciously. I'm looking forward to seeing the disaster it will be. Noah just shrugged, his mocking gaze fixed on the stage. The lights dimmed, and an expectant silence filled the auditorium. Alex took the stage first, adjusting the microphone and testing the sound of the guitar. Good evening, everyone, he said, his voice echoing through the space. Thank you for being here. Tonight, we will share stories of overcoming through art and music. We hope these stories touch your hearts as much as they touched ours. With that, he began to play a soft, melancholic melody, his notes filling the auditorium and creating an emotional atmosphere. Sarah entered the stage, carrying her painting covered with a white sheet. She placed the painting on an easel, taking a deep breath to calm her nerves. Good evening, she said, her voice firm but full of emotion. My name is Sarah, and this is my story. With a graceful movement, she removed the sheet, revealing the vibrant and detailed painting. The image showed a young girl holding a candle in a dark room, the light of the flame illuminating her face with hope. This painting represents my journey of overcoming, Sarah continued, looking at the audience. I lost my parents in an accident when I was younger, and since then, life has been a series of challenges. But through art, I found a way to express my pain and my hope. This candle symbolizes the light I found within myself, even in the darkest moments. The audience was silent, completely absorbed by Sarah's words and painting. Tyler, Emma, and Noah, who were initially ready to mock, began to feel a sense of discomfort. There was something genuine and powerful in Sarah's presentation that they couldn't ignore. Alex's music grew in intensity, and other students began to take the stage to share their stories. Mia, with her angelic voice, sang a ballad about overcoming discrimination, her high, pure notes echoing in the auditorium. Marco performed a dance symbolizing his struggle against depression, his fluid and expressive movements telling a story without words. Each presentation was unique and full of emotion, and the audience responded with enthusiastic applause and teary eyes. Sarah watched everything from backstage, feeling a wave of pride and gratitude. This was the result of all her hard work and determination, and she knew she was making a difference. As the presentation reached its climax, Sarah returned to the stage, this time with Alex by her side. "We want to thank everyone for being here tonight," she said, her heart pounding, "and we want to remind everyone that no matter how difficult life can be, there is always a light within us. We just need to find it and let it shine." The audience erupted in applause, and Sarah felt tears streaming down her face. She looked at Alex, who smiled proudly beside her, and knew they had succeeded. They had touched the hearts of everyone in that room. Backstage, after the presentation, Sarah was approached by several students and professors who wanted to congratulate her. "Your story was so inspiring," said a student, with tears in her eyes. "Thank you for sharing it with us." "You are incredible, Sarah," said a professor. "I am very proud of you." Sarah felt overwhelmed with happiness and gratitude, knowing she had made a difference. But deep down, she still felt a slight worry about what Tyler, Emma, and Noah might do. As she talked with the students, she saw Tyler approaching, his face serious and without the usual expression of disdain. "Sarah," he said, his voice surprisingly soft, "can I talk to you for a moment?" Sarah was surprised but nodded. "Of course, Tyler. What do you want to say?" Tyler looked at her for a moment, as if struggling to find the right words. "I wanted to say that your presentation was incredible. It really touched something in me." Sarah was stunned, not knowing how to respond. "Thank you, Tyler. That means a lot to me." Emma and Noah joined Tyler, both with softer expressions than usual. "Yes, it was really powerful," Emma said, her eyes avoiding Sarah's gaze. "Maybe we judged you wrong." Noah just nodded, but Sarah could see the sincerity in his eyes. "Maybe," he said simply. Sarah felt a wave of hope. Maybe, just maybe, things were starting to change. As the night went on and people began to leave the auditorium, Sarah sat on the empty stage, reflecting on everything that had happened. Alex joined her, sitting beside her and putting an arm around her shoulders. "You did it, Sarah," he said softly. "You really did it." Sarah smiled, still feeling the adrenaline of the night. "I couldn't have done it without you, Alex. We all did it together." They sat in silence for a moment, appreciating the calm after the storm of emotions. Sarah knew there were more challenges ahead, but she also knew that with friends like Alex and the strength she had found within herself, she could face anything. The presentation had been a success, but more importantly, it had planted seeds of change and empathy at Santa University. Sarah looked to the future with renewed hope and determination, ready to continue her journey of overcoming and inspiration. The morning after the presentation dawned clear and cold, with a light mist hovering over the Santa University campus. The auditorium, which the night before had been full of emotion and applause, was now silent and empty. Sarah walked through the halls, feeling the echo of the previous night's events still resonating in her mind. The compliments, the smiles, and, most importantly, the acknowledgement from Tyler, Emma, and Noah. It all still felt surreal. When she arrived at the cafeteria, Sarah saw some students who had participated in the presentation. They greeted her with waves and smiles, and she felt a wave of warmth and acceptance. However, there were also curious glances and some expressions of discomfort from students who still didn't know how to process the changes that were happening. Sitting with Alex, Mia, and Marco at a table near the window, Sarah noticed Tyler, Emma, and Noah entering the cafeteria. The three looked different, less arrogant, more thoughtful. They grabbed their trays and hesitated for a moment before approaching Sarah's table. "Can we sit with you?" Tyler asked, his voice carrying a humility Sarah had never heard before. Sarah exchanged a look with Alex, who nodded discreetly. "Of course," she said, offering an encouraging smile. "Sit down." As the three settled in, there was a moment of awkward silence. Finally, Emma spoke, breaking the tension. "I wanted to thank you for last night. It really made us think." "Yes," added Noah, looking at Sarah with surprising sincerity. "We never realized how much our actions were hurting others. We want to try to do things differently." Sarah felt a knot untangle in her chest, a mix of relief and hope. "I'm glad to hear that. We're all here to learn and grow. And that includes recognizing our mistakes and doing better." Tyler nodded, his gaze fixed on the floor. "I know we can't change the past, but we want to help from now on. Can we start by working together on the next project?" Alex smiled, looking at Sarah with pride. "Of course you can. Let's make this something even bigger and better." In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere on campus began to change. Sarah's presentation had planted seeds of empathy and reflection among the students. Classroom discussions became more open and inclusive, with students sharing their stories and experiences. Santa Ana University, recognizing the positive impact of the presentation, decided to launch an official campaign to promote diversity and inclusion. Sarah was invited to lead the project, and she accepted with enthusiasm, determined to continue promoting significant changes. During a meeting with the project's organizers, Sarah presented her ideas with passion. "We need to create a space where everyone feels safe to share their stories," she said. "We can organize workshops, lectures, and events that celebrate diversity and resilience." The other organizers agreed, and soon the campaign began to take shape. Tyler, Emma, and Noah joined the team, dedicated to correcting their mistakes and building new friendships. Tyler, in particular, showed a surprising commitment, actively participating in all meetings and proposing new ideas. "We can create a collaborative mural," he suggested at a meeting. "Each student can add something that represents their story or struggle. It will be a living artwork that shows the diversity of our community." Sarah loved the idea. "That's perfect, Tyler. Let's start planning the details." As the project progressed, Sarah began to notice that while many students were embracing the change, there was still subtle resistance. Some of the privileged students continued to look disdainfully at the inclusion efforts, and Sarah knew that true transformation would take time. One day, while working in the art studio, Sarah was approached by a student named Jessica, who was known for being one of the most critical and cynical on campus. "Can I talk to you, Sarah?" Jessica asked, her voice hesitant. "Of course," Sarah said, putting her brushes aside. "What's going on?" Jessica seemed nervous, her gaze avoiding Sarah's. "I wanted to say that I admire what you're doing. I know I wasn't very receptive at first, but I'm trying to understand." Sarah felt a warmth of empathy for Jessica. "Change is hard for all of us, Jessica. The important thing is that you're willing to try. And if you need help or want to talk, I'm here." Jessica nodded, looking relieved. "Thank you, Sarah. I'll think about it." On the day of the collaborative mural's inauguration, the campus was buzzing with excitement. The mural had become a vibrant and emotional artwork, with contributions from students of all backgrounds. Each section of the mural told a different story, forming a mosaic of experiences and resilience. Sarah stood in front of the mural, admiring the result. Tyler, Emma, and Noah approached, looking proud of their contributions. "It's amazing to see how this all came together," Emma said, her eyes shining with emotion. "Yes," agreed Noah, running his hand over the mural surface. "Each story is unique, but they're all connected." Tyler smiled at Sarah. "This was only possible because of you, Sarah. You showed us what it means to really care about others." Sarah felt a wave of gratitude and pride. This was a team effort. We all contributed to this. And this is just the beginning. We still have a lot to do. As the students gathered for the inauguration ceremony, Sarah stepped up on stage to give a speech. "This mural is more than just art," she said, looking at the crowd. "It's a symbol of our collective strength and our ability to overcome any obstacle. Together, we can create an environment where everyone feels valued and respected." Applause echoed across the campus, and Sarah felt a sense of accomplishment. The journey was far from over, but she knew they had taken a significant step toward a more inclusive and compassionate future. As night fell, Sarah and Alex walked across the campus, enjoying the calm after the event. "You did an incredible job, Sarah," Alex said, his tone full of admiration. "I didn't do it alone," Sarah replied, looking at Alex with gratitude. "We all did this together. And that's what makes it so special." Alex smiled, taking Sarah's hand. "Yes, together. And I can't wait to see what more we can achieve." As they walked back to the dormitory, Sarah felt a new hope and determination growing inside her. There were challenges ahead, but with friends by her side and a more united campus, she knew they could face anything. After the success of the mural inauguration, The transformation on the Santa Ana University campus continued to advance. Sarah, now the leading figure in the diversity and inclusion campaign, was busy planning a series of new events and workshops. One day, while organizing the details of a lecture on resilience, she was approached by a group of privileged students, including some who had always kept their distance. "Sarah, can we talk to you?" asked one of them, a young woman named Victoria, who had always been reserved and critical of the inclusion initiatives. Sarah looked up from her notes, surprised. "Of course, Victoria. How can I help?" Victoria hesitated, exchanging glances with the others. "We wanted to apologize. We thought it was a waste of time. But after seeing the impact of the mural and hearing the stories, we realized we were wrong." The other students nodded, their expressions serious and regretful. "We want to join you," said another student, named Lucas. "We want to help promote the change you started." Sarah felt a wave of emotion, her eyes filling with tears. "That means a lot to me, to all of us. Thank you for being willing to change and be part of this transformation." She extended her hand, and Victoria shook it, a gesture that sealed a new beginning. "Let's work together," Sarah said, her smile warm and welcoming. "We all have something to contribute." As Sarah celebrated the growing acceptance and support for the project, Tyler, Emma, and Noah continued to face their own internal battles. Although they had made significant strides toward change, they still struggled with their old habits and prejudices. One afternoon, they gathered in the campus cafe for a candid conversation. "I feel like I'm always in conflict with myself," Emma said, stirring her cup of tea. "I want to change, but it's hard to forget how I used to think and act." Noah nodded, his face reflecting the same struggle. "Yes, it's like we're constantly trying to balance our old beliefs with this new way of seeing the world." Tyler, who had become more introspective since the presentation, looked at his friends with determination. "I think we need to be honest about our mistakes and learn from them. It won't be easy, but we can do it together." They decided to write apology letters to those they had wronged in the past, a symbolic gesture to acknowledge their faults and seek forgiveness. Emma was the first to deliver her letter to a student she had bullied, feeling a mix of nervousness and relief. Noah followed her example, handing his letter to a student he had publicly belittled. Tyler, in turn, sought out Sarah. "I know I've said this before, but I wanted to apologize again, Sarah, and I want you to know that we're committed to making a difference." Sarah smiled, touched by his sincerity. "I know you are, and I'm proud of all of you for being willing to change." With the participation of the new allies, the diversity and inclusion campaign gained even more momentum. Sarah, now with a larger and more diverse team, organized a grand end-of-semester event to celebrate the year's achievements and plan the next steps. The auditorium was transformed into a vibrant space, decorated with artworks and interactive exhibits that told stories of overcoming and resilience. During the event, Sarah took the stage to give a speech. "This year has been full of challenges and triumphs. We've seen how empathy and understanding can transform a community, and this is just the beginning. We'll continue to work together to ensure everyone feels valued and included." As she spoke, she looked at the audience and saw Tyler, Emma, and Noah sitting in the front row, smiling and applauding. Victoria, Lucas, and the other new allies were by their side, all united by a common goal. Sarah felt a wave of pride and hope. After the speech, the night continued with music, dance, and theater performances, all created by students to celebrate diversity. The highlight of the night was a joint performance by Sarah and Alex, combining live painting with music. They worked in sync, their creations reflecting the transformation journey that everyone had gone through. After the event, Sarah was approached by a professor, Dr. Martinez, who had always supported her initiatives. "Sarah, I'm so proud of what you and your friends have accomplished," he said, smiling. "You've really changed the spirit of this campus." Sarah thanked him, feeling humbly grateful for the recognition. "Thank you, Dr. Martinez. We couldn't have done it without everyone's support." "I wanted to talk to you about something," the professor continued. "We have an opportunity to present this project at a national conference on inclusive education. I think you should go and share your story with others." Sarah was surprised and moved by the proposal. "That would be amazing. I'd love to share our experience and inspire other schools to do the same." Great, said Dr. Martinez. I'll make the necessary arrangements, and know that we'll all be cheering for you. In the following days, Sarah and her team began preparing for the conference. They gathered data, created presentations, and rehearsed their speeches. Tyler, Emma, and Noah offered help, showing that they were truly committed to the cause. On the eve of the trip, Sarah met with Alex in the art studio. They were organizing materials when Alex stopped and looked at her. Sarah, I'm so proud of you. You've accomplished something incredible here. Sarah smiled, feeling emotional. I couldn't have done it without you, Alex. Your friendship and support mean the world to me. They stood in silence for a moment, appreciating the depth of their connection. Let's keep doing this, Alex said softly. Let's keep inspiring people and making a difference. Yes, Sarah agreed, holding his hand. Let's. The Santa Ana University campus was in full swing with the diversity and inclusion campaign. The collaborative mural had become a popular gathering point, where students met to talk, reflect, and add new stories. Sarah was busy but happy, seeing the positive impact of her efforts. One day, during a committee meeting, she received surprising news. Sarah, we have something exciting to share, Dr. Martinez said, smiling broadly. The university board has decided to appoint you as the official leader of the new Diversity and Inclusion Project. They want you to continue promoting these changes and help transform our university. Sarah was stunned. That's amazing. I don't know what to say. I'm so honored. You deserve it, Sarah, Alex said, sitting next to her. No one else could do this as well as you. The other committee members applauded, and Sarah felt a wave of gratitude and responsibility. I'll do my best, she said, her eyes shining with determination. I promise we'll keep making a difference. With her new position, Sarah began organizing a series of events and workshops for the next semester. Tyler, Emma, and Noah were by her side, more committed than ever. During a planning meeting, they discussed new ideas to engage the student community even more. I was thinking, Emma began, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. We could have a week of cultural activities where students can share their traditions, foods, and music. This will help everyone understand each other better. That's a great idea, Noah said, nodding. And we can end the week with a big diversity festival, with live performances and stands from different cultures. Sarah smiled, feeling inspired by her friend's ideas. I love it. Let's make it happen. And we can also include discussion panels on important topics like inclusion, equity, and human rights. They spent the afternoon planning every detail, from logistics to discussion topics. The excitement in the air was palpable, and Sarah felt they were about to do something really special. While working on the project, Sarah began to notice something strange. Tyler, Emma, and Noah, who had previously seemed so united and committed, started showing signs of tension. Sarah couldn't help but notice the furtive glances and low conversations they exchanged. One afternoon, she decided to confront Tyler about what was happening. Tyler, can I talk to you for a moment? Sarah asked, pulling him aside after a meeting. Sure, Sarah. What's up? Tyler seemed nervous, his eyes avoiding hers. I've noticed that you, Emma, and Noah have been a bit distant lately. Is something going on? Sarah asked, trying to sound understanding. Tyler sighed, running a hand through his hair. It's complicated. Emma and Noah have their own personal issues, and I think it's starting to affect our work here. Sarah frowned, worried. If you need help, I'm here. We all are. But we need to resolve this to keep our mission going. Tyler nodded, looking relieved. Thank you, Sarah. I'll talk to them. We'll figure this out. Meanwhile, Emma and Noah were sitting on one of the campus benches, talking in low voices. Emma looked frustrated, her eyes shining with unshed tears. I just feel like we're drifting apart, she said. All this is overwhelming us. Noah sighed, looking at the ground. I know, and I'm sorry about that. I think we need to talk to Tyler and sort this out. That night, the three of them met at the campus cafe. The conversation was tense at first, but soon turned into a moment of openness and vulnerability. Emma explained her feelings of frustration, Noah spoke about his own insecurities, and Tyler admitted he was also struggling to balance everything. We're all here for the same reason, Tyler said, looking at his friends. We want to make a difference, but we can't do that if we're not together in this. Emma wiped a tear, nodding. You're right. We need to support each other more. Noah smiled, feeling relieved. Let's do this. Together. With their issues resolved, the group returned to work with even more determination. The week of cultural activities was a resounding success, with students from all backgrounds participating and sharing their stories. The Diversity Festival was a highlight, with exciting performances and a vibrant celebration of all the cultures represented at the university. On the night of the festival, Sarah was backstage, preparing for her final speech. Alex was by her side, adjusting his guitar. Are you ready? He asked, smiling. Yes, Sarah replied, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. Tonight is about all of us, about what we've accomplished together. She took the stage, greeted by enthusiastic applause. Good evening, everyone, she began, her voice full of emotion. This week has been a testament to how, when we come together, we can create something truly special. Everyone here has a unique and valuable story, and that's what makes our community so strong. As she spoke, her eyes scanned the crowd, seeing familiar and new faces, all united by a common cause. Let's continue to work together, she said, concluding her speech. Let's keep building a university where everyone feels valued and included. Applause echoed through the auditorium, and Sarah felt a wave of pride and gratitude. They had achieved something incredible, and the journey was just beginning. After the festival, as Sarah walked across the campus with Alex, she felt a new hope and determination. You know, Alex, she said, looking at the stars, I feel like we're making history here. Alex smiled, holding her hand. We are. And I can't wait to see what more we can achieve together. The semester was advancing rapidly, and the diversity and inclusion campaign at Santa Ana University was stronger than ever. Sarah continued to lead the efforts with passion and dedication. One day, while reviewing materials in the art studio, she received an anonymous message. The short and direct text made her heart race. Someone is hiding something that could ruin everything. Sarah felt uneasy. What could this secret be? And why would someone send her this message? She decided to stay calm and investigate discreetly. In the following days, she began to observe the students' behavior more closely, looking for clues about the possible secret. She also shared her concern with Alex, who suggested caution and patience. We need to find out who is behind this, Alex said, holding Sarah's hand. But we have to do it carefully to avoid creating unnecessary panic or distrust. Sarah nodded, knowing he was right. I'll be discreet, but I can't let this go. We need to protect everything we've built. As she investigated, Sarah began to notice some inconsistencies in the behavior of some privileged students who had recently joined the campaign. Among them was Victoria, who seemed more anxious and worried than usual. Sarah decided to approach her discreetly after a committee meeting. Victoria, do you have a moment? Sarah asked, trying to sound casual. Victoria looked at her with a nervous expression but nodded. Sure, Sarah. What do you need? I wanted to know if everything is okay. You seem worried lately, Sarah said, trying to show empathy. Victoria hesitated, her eyes avoiding Sarah's. I'm dealing with some personal things. Nothing you need to worry about. Sarah frowned, feeling there was more. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here. Victoria gave a forced smile and thanked her before hurrying away. Sarah watched her leave, feeling she was getting closer to something important. In the following days, Sarah continued to investigate discreetly, but without success in discovering more details about the secret. She began to feel frustrated and worried, fearing that time was running out. During a planning meeting with Alex, Tyler, Emma, and Noah, she decided to share her concerns. I received an anonymous message saying someone is hiding something that could ruin our campaign, Sarah said, her voice tense. I don't know who or what, but we need to find out before it's too late. Tyler frowned, looking worried. This is serious. We need to find out who is behind this and what they're hiding. I agree, Emma said, her eyes shining with determination. We can't let this destroy us. Noah nodded, his fists clenched. Let's work together to find out. We won't let them ruin everything we've built. Sarah continued her investigations, trying to be even more discreet. One afternoon, while reviewing some documents in the art studio, she found a letter that had been mistakenly left among her materials. The letter was addressed to Victoria and seemed to contain important information. Curious, Sarah opened the letter and began to read. Her heart raced as she realized the letter contained details about an academic fraud involving several privileged students, including Victoria. They had manipulated grades and exam results to secure their positions at the university. Sarah felt a mix of shock and disappointment. She knew she needed to confront Victoria, but she also knew she needed to do it carefully and compassionately. She decided to wait until the end of the day to talk to her privately. That night, Sarah found Victoria on campus, sitting on an isolated bench and staring at the ground. The soft light from the lamps created long shadows, and the silence was almost palpable. Sarah approached, her heart racing. "Victoria, I need to talk to you about something important," Sarah said, sitting next to her. Victoria looked at Sarah, her eyes full of worry. "What is it, Sarah?" Sarah took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I found a letter that reveals an academic fraud involving you and other students. I need to know the truth." Victoria turned pale, her gaze dropping to the ground. I don't know what to say. Yes, we did it. We manipulated our grades. I feel horrible about it, but I was afraid of losing everything." Sarah felt a wave of compassion, but also knew she needed to be firm. "Victoria, this is serious. It could ruin everything we're trying to build. We need to deal with this transparently." Victoria began to cry, her tears falling silently. "I know. I'm so sorry. I didn't want this to happen." Sarah put a hand on Victoria's shoulder, trying to comfort her. "We'll resolve this together. But you need to be honest and take responsibility for your actions." The next day, Victoria, accompanied by Sarah, went to the dean's office to confess the fraud. The confession was received with shock and disappointment, but also with a commitment to handle the situation fairly. Sarah supported Victoria throughout the process, offering words of encouragement and solidarity. "You're doing the right thing," Sarah said as they waited outside the office. "And that's what matters." Victoria nodded, wiping away her tears. "Thank you, Sarah. I don't know what I would do without you." The news of the fraud spread across the campus, causing a stir among the students. However, the transparency with which the situation was handled helped minimize the damage. Sarah, along with Tyler, Emma, Noah, and Alex, organized an open meeting to discuss what had happened and reinforce the commitment to integrity and honesty. During the meeting, Sarah spoke to the gathered crowd. "This situation has shown us that we need to be vigilant and honest in everything we do. The fraud does not define who we are, but how we deal with it does." The students applauded, and Sarah felt a wave of relief. The crisis had been overcome, and they were stronger than ever. The diversity and inclusion campaign continued, with a renewed commitment to transparency and honesty. The last few months had been intense for Sarah and her friends. The academic fraud crisis was overcome, and the diversity and inclusion campaign was stronger than ever. However, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something else was coming. One cold and cloudy morning, she received an unexpected invitation to an urgent university council meeting. The invitation did not specify the reason, which increased her apprehension. Sarah entered the meeting room, where the council was gathered. The atmosphere was solemn, the expressions of the council members serious. The dean, Dr. Thompson, asked Sarah to sit. "Sarah, we called you here because we have important news," Dr. Thompson began, adjusting his glasses. "We received a complaint about a matter that involves you directly." Sarah felt her heart race. "Complaint? About what?" Dr. Thompson took a deep breath. "An accusation has been made that you knew about the academic fraud before it was discovered, and that you tried to cover it up to protect the students involved." Sarah was stunned, unable to believe what she was hearing. "That's not true. I would never cover something like that. I was the one who encouraged Victoria to confess." Dr. Thompson raised his hand to silence her. "We understand your position, but we need to investigate the complaint. Until everything is clarified, you will be suspended from your duties in the diversity and inclusion campaign." Sarah felt the ground open beneath her feet. "But what about the work we're doing? And the planned events?" "Other committee members will assume your responsibilities temporarily," Dr. Thompson said firmly. "We appreciate your cooperation." Shaken and disoriented, Sarah left the meeting and found Alex waiting outside. He ran to her, noticing the devastated expression on her face. "What happened in there?" Sarah swallowed hard, trying to hold back the tears. "I've been accused of covering up the academic fraud. I'm suspended until the investigation is over." Alex was stunned. "That's absurd. They can't do this to you. Everyone knows how hard you fought for transparency." "I know," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "But now, I don't know what to do. I feel like everything is falling apart." Alex held her hand tightly. "We'll fight this. We'll prove your innocence." They hugged, seeking strength in each other. Sarah knew she would need all the support of her friends to overcome this new crisis. In the following days, Tyler, Emma, and Noah worked tirelessly to gather evidence that could clear Sarah's name. They reviewed documents, interviewed witnesses, and looked for any clue that could point to the truth. The tension was palpable, but everyone was determined to clear Sarah's name. Emma found an important clue while reviewing email records. "Look at this," she said, calling Tyler and Noah's attention. This email was sent anonymously to the council shortly before Sarah's meeting. The language and writing style seemed familiar. Tyler frowned, reading the email carefully. This sounds like something Victoria could have written. Maybe she was afraid to face the consequences and tried to divert the blame. Noah agreed. "We need to talk to Victoria again. Maybe she knows more than she told us." Sarah, Alex, Tyler, Emma, and Noah met with Victoria in a discreet cafe on campus. Victoria seemed nervous, knowing the situation was delicate. Sarah began the conversation with a soft but firm tone. "Victoria, we need to know the truth," Sarah said. "Did you write that anonymous email to the council?" Victoria looked at her hands, visibly shaken. Yes, it was me. I was so scared of being expelled that I thought if I blamed someone else, maybe I could save myself." Sarah took a deep breath, fighting to stay calm. "Victoria, this almost destroyed everything we've worked for. You need to confess to the council that it was you who wrote the email." Victoria nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I'll do it. I'll confess." With Victoria's testimony in hand, Sarah and her friends went to Dr. Thompson. The dean listened carefully to the confession and reviewed the new evidence. After a tense silence, he finally spoke. "Sarah, we deeply regret the misunderstanding," Dr. Thompson said. "You are reinstated to your duties immediately. And Victoria, we will discuss the appropriate measures for your actions." Sarah felt an immense relief wash over her. "Thank you, Dr. Thompson, and thank you, Victoria, for telling the truth." In the following days, Sarah resumed her work with renewed determination. The campaign continued to grow, and the events were more successful than ever. The sense of community and support among the students was stronger, and Sarah felt that they were truly making a difference. One afternoon, as she walked through the campus with Alex, Sarah felt a sense of peace and accomplishment. "We've been through so much," she said, looking at him, "but I feel like we're stronger than ever." Alex smiled, holding her hand. "We are, and we'll keep moving forward, no matter what happens." As they walked, Sarah saw Tyler, Emma, and Noah talking and laughing with other students. She felt a wave of gratitude for their friendship and support. Together, they had overcome countless challenges and emerged stronger and more united. The future seemed bright, full of possibilities and hope. And Sarah knew that with friends by her side and a community that believed in her, she could face anything. The journey was far from over, but she was ready for whatever lay ahead. We hope you were moved and inspired by our story. We want to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below, share your impressions, and your own stories of resilience and hope. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our upcoming emotionally charged videos. Join us on this journey and follow more incredible stories. See you next time.